year or more to go get his name off my bank account. And he went in one day, didn't tell me, took his name off all of my accounts and closed the family business account, which I had been keeping open so I could get records pulled and all that. I went to log into the business account. It's like, there's not an account. I'm like, what? I was going to do it, but I had kind of kept it open because I just wanted to make sure that until this property is settled, that those records were all there, because a lot of the transactions for the land came from that account.
Welcome back to my channel. It's Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Yesterday, I talked to you about the current Australian version of Sister Wives and how there was this post by this person in a Facebook group about what Janelle had told Mary, and that was that Kody had closed a business account without telling her, and that she had gone to go log into the account, and it was gone. And we talked about money being gone. She accused him of spending money hand over fist, how he had been spending without regard for anyone else. And I spoke about what that could be. Could embezzlement, money laundering, where the money went. That was the question of the person in the comment. They wanted to know. This was in the version of Australia. Do you guys get a different cut? Why no one is talking about where this money went? Well, someone in my comments said that they got a copy of it. Then they sent me a message over on Instagram with the clip. And this comes courtesy of Louise, and this is shared. It's recorded from the television. I don't know if this is the person that sent me this recorded it or not, but Janelle asks Kody to remove his name from her bank account, and apparently she had been asking him to do this for a year. So, for more than a year after they split, Kody still had access to Janelle's money, and she wanted him off her bank account. Can you think and imagine in any other scenario that you're with your ex, and they're still on your bank account a year later, and it's your account, that's where your money goes? That means, had it been Kody taking money from her personal account? But, I don't know, she didn't say that. I'm honestly at this point more and more convinced. I mean, we always have said that this whole thing about making Janelle and Mary stay on and hang on for so long was about money. But now, understanding the details here, that he still had access to Janelle's bank account. She was still on the business account. They had an open business account together. I think they were trying to get Janelle to come back because they wanted her money. He'd been using Janelle for money for decades. I mean, he used Janelle in 2005 to buy that house in Lehigh Mary, and Kody could not afford to buy that house. They were in the middle of a bankruptcy. They had a home that was being foreclosed on, and the only way they qualified for that Lehigh home was for Janelle to take out a loan and apply for it herself, and then Janelle used money from a sale of her own home that she sold in Wyoming and used that as a down payment. So Janelle has been used over and over and over again by Kody for financial purposes. So in the clip that I showed you in the very beginning, she says that she had been asking Kody to do this for a year. Then she tries to log into the account and finds out that it's closed. She then goes on to explain that this is the account where all of the land transactions came from. So the money that was spent and paid for the land that they purchased at Coyote Pass, she claims those transactions occurred at this account. And this is how she further expanded, and this makes so much more sense about why she hired a lawyer. It's more to do with the business account than it is to do with Coyote Pass. I mean, I think Coyote Pass is a part of the reason why they have lawyers involved. But I think the fact that Kody was taking money out of their accounts, he closed their business account and tried to... She's making it sound like he's closing this to try to destroy the evidence of where the money came from for Coyote Pass so that he can say that it's his. And if there's no record of where the money came from, then it's his. What it kind of confuses me about Janelle is that she says that she has a degree in business. She claims that she is a CFO or a finance person or the accountant. And then there's times like in this moment where she says, well, I hope to hell, I don't need any of the records from that account in order to verify the purchases because that's where all the money came from, the land transactions. But you can get bank statements and records from closed accounts from banks as long as that provide identification that you were the holder of the account. And if the account was in Janelle's name or she was part of the business that was on the account, like so, if the account is a business account for Kody Brown Family LLC or whatever company they had it in, as long as she was listed as one of the account holders with access to the account, then she should be able to get the records. and closing the account doesn't change the fact that the records of the account existed. My only question here is that did Kody set this account up so that her name wasn't on it? Because if you have a business account, anyone that's considered a manager of the business should be able to manage any of the accounts that they have. And I looked in the various states. They had Kody Brown Family Entertainment LLC in Utah that was dissolved in 2021. They have the Kody Brown Family Entertainment LLC in Nevada, and that was dissolved in 2023. And then Kody Brown Family Entertainment LLC is in Arizona. And that one is still active and hasn't been dissolved yet. And it was registered as a foreign company with its headquarters in Nevada. But then they withdrew the one in Nevada in 2020 and 3. And then the one in Flagstaff for Arizona is still open to this day. And I gazed at the records and so on for all of these women, Christine, Mary, Janelle, Robin, Kody. They are each described as manager, so if they had a joint business account and they're all managers, that means they can manage the accounts. So Janelle should be able to contact the bank and let them know she was a manager of the company and that she wants bank statements for a specific time period from whatever 2018, I think is when they made that purchase. So at that time in 2018, their business would have been domiciled in Nevada, and she was the woman in 2021 that dissolved the business in Nevada. So she would just need bank statements from the account from 2018. It is not that difficult. And then for the paying off of the land, whenever that was, she also should be able to get bank statements from that. I am starting to come to the understanding that Kody was keeping these women around and using their personal bank accounts as his own piggy bank, and then also using the family account for the business as his own piggy bank, and then using the money to spoil Robin, to fill her house with art, to buy all kinds of crap, for her to buy houses from Robin, to buy cars. He certainly wasn't using the money in this joint account to pay for Isabel's surgery or for any of his kids, like medical expenses. I mean, truly went to the ICU and was in there for like 11 days, and he didn't pay a dime, according to Christine, for that medical emergency that he caused due to his negligence. So Kody was spending all of this money on crap that he didn't need, and then neglecting his kids, neglecting Isabel's surgery, neglecting truly, and then up until recently had access to Janelle's bank account. This reminds me of another cult that I've covered called 7M, where the leaders in that group are alleged to get their members to hand over their bank accounts. And what they do is they let them either sign on to their accounts, become joint bank holders, or they just have them send them checks, and they write checks for them, and they have them time checks ahead of time, and then they make payments out of the account. But the leaders are getting their members to submit to them, and the submission is why they say, well, if you submit to us and you submit your money to us, that shows that your loyalty, it shows that you believe in the cause. And so it makes me think here in very similar ways that these women are submitting to Kody, and submitting in a way where they're doing this trusting that he's going to take care of them and take care of the greater good. But then they're still so bamboo-boozled and like brainwashed that they're not recognizing that Kody is using all of this money for Robin. And if Kody had access to Janelle's bank account, her bank account, that makes me wonder, like, was he pilfering her account? It makes me wonder if he was pilfering Christine's account. And it also makes me wonder if up until the point that Mary left, if they still held a joint account, or if Kody was on any bank accounts with her. I mean, the audacity of this man to be on so many accounts when he's not really even in a relationship with them and he's not paying their bills, and then to have them all on a joint account, but then to close the account without their permission. And it depends on the bank. But not all banks will allow you to close the business account without the authorization of all the parties. Some will depend on how the account is set up. It'll allow any member, or it'll be designated a specific member, but Kody is not listed as having a higher position in this company than the women. They're all considered equal parties, and they're all considered managers. What seriously confuses me about the way that they purchase this is, say, they use the business account to pay for the property, if that's the case. And if they're using the business account to buy stuff, which is unusual, you don't generally use a business account to buy property. You don't use a business account to purchase homes unless you're using the home for the business. Business accounts are not supposed to be used for person expenses. And what also I find weird is that if you're going to use the business account and it's set up as a business account for personal expenses like this, why then wouldn't you put the properties and the homes in names of the LLCs that they're being purchased by? So if you're using Kody Brown Family Entertainment LLC and the subsequent bank account for the purchases, why then wouldn't you set up the deed in the name of that company and then have everybody on the deed? Because the deed, if it's in the name of the company, will demonstrate that all the M managers of the company are equally holding the percentage of the property together, and it would have made the division of assets so much easier, because if the property would have been purchased in the name of the LLC, and they're all managing members, the division would have been easy. It's wild to me to think about them using a business account for personal expenses. And here's where I question if there's tax fraud going on, because are they using the business account for personal expenses, but then deducting the expenses as business expenses? Do you see where I'm going? So say they buy property and they put down $450,000 on land, and then at tax time, they state that they purchased property for the business, and they're using it as a tax deduction to avoid income tax on the total cost of what they're making and putting in that account. So if the business gets revenue from TLC of like $800,000 a year, and that the year that they buy the land, they put $450,000 on land down, are they deducting that as a business expense? Because if they're deducting it, then as a business expense, the property is not a personally held property. So then you've got business expenses and using a business account to buy property, but then you're putting the property in names of individuals who are members of the business, but you're not putting the members of the business on each and every parcel, which is, if that's how they did it, that's fraud. There's so many issues with mixing personal business and personal and business accounts. And most LLCs that are multiple parties, like this one, would be filing their taxes independent of the individual. So like I will have an LLC, but I do not have to file taxes separately for my LLC. I am able to file it with my personal income taxes, but then I also have a subsidiary section for the business, but it's because I'm the only member and I'm the managing member. I am able to file it with my personal tax returns, so it's a personal and business alto. But in this case, if they're all on it, the business is going to file independently. So then again, are they using these purchases as a write-off? And if that's the case, the parcels should have been named and placed and deed in the name of the business. There's like so much messiness here, it makes my head explode. This is a nightmare for anyone that's going to get their hands in this legally. But I would say, Janelle, contact your bank. You should still be able to get the bank statements. Records don't get destroyed just because the bank account is closed. But the fact that he did go behind her back and close the account is super shady. And it does appear as though he's trying to cut off the paper trail so that he can move forward, and he might be counting on their ignorance and their lack of understanding of the real world. That in the real world, if you close an account, you can still get access to records. And Janelle, as smart as she thinks she is definitely not as savvy as she should be. And I think Kody really played on that ignorance, and it's just incredibly, this family's finances is a nightmare to have to deal with, and Kody should be in prison for what he's done to these women. But that's just my opinion. So what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.